Our final speaker tonight is Regine Harr. She is a sales powerhouse and a serial entrepreneur. She was head of sales at a software company that got acquired by Templafy, maybe you know that. She's also the founder of Nelou, a fashion startup that built a YouTube for fashion designers. And currently she's building something new that she might tell you about. I don't know. Let's see. Regine has studied law and economic, and she also has over 3 years of investment banking experience. And I'm really excited about her talk because I've seen her talking a couple of times now, and it was always bam. So sorry for setting the bar that high.
No.
Now you can reach it.
Okay, guys, everyone get up, walk around your chair, wake up before we get started. We have a lot to cover. Okay, so we talked a lot about the male and female energy thing, and I really want to talk about this because I've been, for the last 2 years, I've been totally in female energy, but I love male energy. It's like what made me so successful is male energy. And I think we need to understand better why we are sort of bashing male energy right now, but it's really what drives so much of our existence and our businesses. So what happened was that, especially wars, and after the Second World War in the Western world, we needed to quickly get out of a very, very, very difficult situation. We needed to very quickly make sure that we get out of poverty, that we get out of hunger, and that we get out of so many other problems that we had at the time. Now, what happened was that we needed to find a form. Male energy is form and structure and a plan. That is what male energy is. Female energy, on the other hand, is content. It goes wide. So the way I've got one example that explains it quite well. So male energy, if we look at a pregnancy and it was only directed and by male energy, it would last for 3 months, and then a baby came out with 1 arm and 1 leg. That would be pure male energy. If we only had female energy, the pregnancy would be 18 months and we had 5 arms, 5 legs. So the idea of that male energy is bad is just wrong. It is just that it was necessary to really be in that place where we use as much of structure and focus to get us out of where we were. That's why it's so important to really embrace the male energy. Now, what happened was that schools were built and created when we basically needed factory workers that were, the first employees that were doing numbers and stuff like that. So we needed a little bit of education. That is what schools are for. That was why they were initially founded. So schools try to put male energy into sort of, don't think about anything that goes, why don't feel creative, just type the numbers into your machines and then go with it, and let's make the company even more successful. Now, what happens is that we are now at a point where with pure male energy, we cannot grow anymore. And this is where we women come in. We have a secret that they don't have. We know creation is female, yeah? We are the ones that are giving birth. Everything that comes into the world as a positive, as a uplifting thing comes out of female energy. We are content, we go wide. But however, we need the male energy to give something that's fluid, structure and form in order for it to really be able to be birthed. Does that make sense? Is everyone following me? Because it's very important to understand that the female energy is what will eventually make the difference. So male energy is structure, and female energy is everything that goes around. Like, for example, we have the menstruation and stuff like that. So we go in circles. That means once a month, we need to go back and actually reintegrate things. Like, we are in a state of pause. Male energy doesn't cater for that. It's like 1 year after the other, you go to school, you only focus on being better and being better and being better. And female energy is like, no, every now and again, we need a break, and we need to rethink what we have learned and reintegrate it into our existence. This is not what happened over the last 100 years, yeah? Over the last 100 years, we did not make time for integrating new things that we learned. You know, we didn't take time to realize that we might be going the wrong way, that we might abuse the world, that we might abuse women, that we might abuse whatnot. We were in a state of fear. And this is also male energy. It's a mangel, like a having too little, having not enough love, not having enough products. This is what the world is based on wanting more, wanting more, wanting more. And this is basically how capitalism works. We try to, you know, tell everyone that you need to meet more and have more than what we have and what we are right now. Now, the thing is, especially with Corona and stuff, we're realizing, okay, this system does not work on its own anymore. This is it, end of the story. We have to build a new value system. And over the last couple of years, I have very successfully done sales for the company. I was one of the founders. It was a technology company. And we basically signed B2B deals with the big consulting companies. And I have done a very different kind of sales, very integrating male and female energy. And I only realized it over the last couple of years that why I have been so successful is because I realized that everything is based on relationships. Like Alexandra was saying earlier, love. So, and I come to this. So I developed a formula. I'll show you now. We're looking for success, love, money, happiness, and all this. I developed a formula. I call it Revolution. It's RAW, R-O-A-R, and then hoch, that's hoch, Y. And the interesting thing is that we can change, and we can actually get out of this state where we are right now, where we're sort of stuck and in a fear state of mind of, are we going to make it out of Corona? Are we going to be able to make this world and the economy grow again, or are we going to be stuck forever? And I think we as women have a secret that, you know, we can share now with the world that will make this, you know, make us be able to grow again. So let's just quickly cover the letters. R, Alexandra was saying, love is for relevance. How relevant are we in relationships? How relevant are we for our customers? How relevant are we for the world? I think oftentimes, and I can speak for myself, as I said, I have way too much male energy. And for example, for me, it was important to be at a point in my life where I'm safe and secure. And so for me, I did not focus much on, you know, am I producing something for the world that's really a good product? I distinguish between three types of products: negative product, positive product, and a neutral product. And I was working on a neutral product. A positive product is all this sustainability stuff and things that are really improving the world. So I think being relevant is really, you know, male energy doesn't focus on, am I relevant for someone, but how can I make money out of someone? You know, how can I just squeeze another cent out of that person? And it's very much fear-based, like, you know, tell me by the end of the week, otherwise the spot will be gone. I've only got 3 spots left. You know, you only get the discount today. That's all fear-based, all fear-driven. And this is not creating relevance, not being relevant, not creating added value. And this is, people don't want to be sold to like this anymore. People want to feel like you are interested in making their lives better. You can only be better and earn more money. So one of my sentences is, the money is in the relationship. You can only make money. People don't buy products. They buy from who you are. They buy a feeling. They want to feel that when they buy and consume your product, that they themselves feel better. This is what makes their lives better. And this is where the growth is. There are so many products. I don't know how many cheesecakes in Berlin, right? But for some reason, Cynthia managed to create a cheesecake where you want to go. She herself is so, which is what Alexandra was talking about with love, so invested in this cheesecake. You want to feel her specific love when you go eat her cheesecake. And everyone has a different taste for love. So for example, like if you think you've got a product and there are already 5 other products on the market, don't worry about it. There is a pizza place down my road for sure, and there's one down your road as well. It doesn't matter. My pizza place is special for me. Your pizza place is special for you. Don't worry about it. Just make sure that your love is in there and you are really relevant to this world. Then ongoing investment. Very male energy now. Very male energy. And this is something especially in relationships. This formula works for marriages, for anything. That oftentimes couples forget, and to be doing ongoing investments, like, oh, you know, like in my business, I'm not thinking, oh, I can't go to work for 3 days or 3 months, and it's still running. But in my marriage, I think, oh, well, I don't have time for it right now. The kids are annoying me. You know, I've got so much work to do, and then I forget to invest in my marriage, and then it's failing. Yeah. So, and this is something that in business terms and with studying, we really understand that we have to be fully present. We have to be on it all the time. And it's the case. Like in German, we have the word selbstständig, selbst und ständig. You have to really be on it all the time. But, and this is what Alexandra was also saying with be present. You can't just, you know, not pick up your kids from Kita. You can't just, you know, not have a day with your husband. But we tend to forget that oftentimes that we really need to invest in our relationships. In, you know, whatever friendships we have, we can't forget about it. And this is exactly, of course, the same with our businesses. Then authenticity. And this is, again, if we, you know, in school, when we were in school, I remember that most often we would focus on the things we were not good in. Like, for example, I was very good with numbers, but I was not so good in reading and writing. So I would always be like asked to do more in reading and writing, stuff that I was not good in. And eventually, and this is what happens so often, that people study this stuff they're actually not good in just because they spend so much time in it. So if we were all to be focusing from the very beginning on things that are true to us, that make us feel like, okay, I can really be my authentic self. That's really who I am. That's really where my talents are. And if we were to really focus on it, like Alexandra was saying, she's not really into food, but she's into business. So she found herself someone who can like, she didn't just say, okay, now I cook, right? I mean, what a waste of talent, you know? So if everyone would really focus on what they're good at and bring this into the world, then the world would be a better place. R, again, is this resilience in reconvalescence. Does everyone know what reconvalescence is? Reconvalescence is really taking breaks. Like, for example, this is also female energy again. Like, I'm totally in that state now for 2 years where I'm producing content. I grow. I take the time out to really reflect on what's really relevant for me, what's really important to me, and what do I really want to bring into the world. Now that I have, you know, a baseline of security and safety, and I feel like I can now focus on that. And then something, the why now. And it's very interesting how we now have time for the why. In like 20, 30, 40 years ago, we were not really able to have so much time to focus on why we're doing things. We were really still in a state of, okay, are we secure? Are we safe? Are we in danger? Is the Third World War coming? What's happening? What's happening? And now we have time for that kind of stuff. And we need to appreciate and not beat ourselves up about that we haven't done it 20 years ago. We were not in a state of being able to focus on that. And we forget about it. And then we're being hard on ourselves. And like, you know, why do I feel like this? Why do I feel like that? It's just because we didn't have time for it. And it's fine. But we women, and this is, I think, why unfortunately Helene left. Remember earlier she said, why do we women always beat ourselves up about wanting to be perfect, and then if we don't get it right and stuff like that? And the interesting thing is, it's not true. Men do that as well, very differently though. If you look at it, burnout and midlife crisis is something that hit men a lot more often than women. Women don't actually get as much into midlife crisis as men do. Men are so focused on producing and producing without any content that there is this time in their lives when they're around 40, 42, that's normally when that happens, when they're like, why am I actually doing this? It hits them as well. It's just different. And it hits me, for example, it hit me very hard at 38, just because I have not been anything else but male energy. And then I had kids. And when you have kids as a woman, it throws you automatically in female energy. And you will not go to work anymore unless going to work is better than being with your kids. Men that don't spend time with their kids don't actually get into that female energy as quickly. So men do have the same kind of, why am I doing this? What's going on? What's happening? Just as much as we do. So let's just really appreciate our men, that they have not had the chance of appreciating this female energy, and they just integrate much later, and it hits them much, much harder. And we women, we have the advantage of, by having kids, and this is something that we have, by having kids, we automatically produce value to the world, and men do not have that privilege. But we have the privilege of being able to bring this to the world of men as well. And if you talk to, like, I'm having contacts right now with the guy that's 24, like the early 20 guys now, everyone that's in that age bracket, they are less likely to just continue with male energy and be like, I study this, I study that, then I do investment banking, then I do this, then I do that. There are a lot of them a lot more willing to deal with what's going on. What are my female energy? What is that power? What do I need to integrate? What do I really want to bring to the world before they go actually into the workforce? So you can already see a generational shift, because of course we are not scared of anything anymore. I mean, we are not, you know, this COVID thing is something scary, but not in terms of someone's going to shoot me. It's just scary in terms of how can we elevate the world now? How can we make this, how can we, you know, get into a next economic growth phase, which is why I call it revolution, like the roaring 20s. We're back in the roaring 20s, obviously now, 100 years later, and we also had the economic shift back then, and we can only actually get into the next evolutional shift, economic shift, relational shift, marriage, better marriages, better relationships, if we integrate both energies. If we only go for female energy, we're going to fail equally as bad as we have with, I mean, we haven't failed, to be honest. The male energy hasn't meant that we failed, but the interesting thing is female energy, as women, we cannot easily be integrated. I mean, it's cool that the men say now, okay, you're equal and you can come into our workforce, but we women say, guys, thanks for inviting us, but we need to also integrate our energies in this as well. We cannot just follow your rules because it's just doesn't sit with us. We have our cycles. We need to have breaks as well. We need to be able to integrate growth. We don't just want to grow for the sake of growing. We want to also have a content while we grow as well. So my hardcore speech. Any questions, guys?
I'm just saying something quickly. I really loved your speech, and I will walk around my chair in a minute. But
yeah, please do, guys, wake up.
I really, yeah, no, but what I would say, like you also really woke me up by your energy, you know. And I'm wondering, like, are you always like this? Like, are you so much full of energy, or where do you get your energy from?
I'll tell you what it is. This content to me, this content is so super, super, super relevant for me. I'm at a point now, again, okay, let me explain to you what a midlife crisis is. A midlife crisis is when you go from taking to giving. What I mean by that is, school, your first jobs, you are still learning. You're learning about things, you're learning about the world, you're taking in content. And as I said, women produce, by having babies, we are producing much earlier than men do. But when you hit around the mid of your life, 40, 42, yeah, you wonder why, and especially hits men. Why am I doing this job? Why am I doing this career? I'm in touch with a guy who's 42. He lost his wife 2 years ago, and his wife died within 6 weeks. And he was one of the bosses of like a big company, whatever. And he quit his job. He's like, why am I still doing this? Why am I still doing that? So he had exactly what I was saying, this breakdown, this burnout, this whatever, and he's totally into his female energy now. So the first half of our lives, we are very much in male energy. We consume, we learn, we structure, we want to grow, we want to go bigger. And then the second half of our lives happens. And this is then the female energy. So, and most people don't understand that. So we go into a giving phase. We need to learn that half of our life is we need to consume, we need to grow, we need to learn what there is to learn that we want to learn. And then the second half is, how can I give back? How can I have the younger generation to learn about life? How can they you know, live in this world and enjoy this world and make this world better and grow in this world and the world grows and stuff like that. And for some reason, no one explained this. No one has talked about it. Midlife crisis, oh, you want a girlfriend, you want a nice car, you know, that kind of stuff. That's not what it is. We have not yet understood that we end up in a midlife crisis just because we're missing content. We're missing something, as Alexandra was saying, that we love and that we want to share. But it's fine to first consume, first learn, first study, but then we also need to realize that we want to give back. And women understand this much earlier. For us, it doesn't sit that well to just consume. It's just something that is inherent in us, but the world has not yet considered as important because, you know, when you are in a fear state, and oh, I've got too little, I've got too less, you cannot give back. As long as your greed is wanting more than wanting to give. That's great. Wanting more than you're willing to give. And there is a point when you are past wanting more, like, you know, how much money can you really make? How much, what can you, and eventually you hit that point where you realize, okay, I had 3 companies. I started 3 companies. Of course I can do sales. Of course I can sell anything, but so what? Like, you know, I can help a lot more people if I explain all of you guys how to really do good sales, and all of you guys sell really, really, really important things. So I'm moving over to the second half of my life where I understand that it's important that guys learn from what I have learned in the first half of my life. So that's why I'm very passionate about it. This is super relevant for me, super important, which is why I love what Dora is doing. You know, we need to be willing, we women, we need to be willing to be out there and check. Like, for example, I've never had this problem that you guys were talking about earlier with men. Men always took me serious. I've never had this problem, like, you know, you want to bullshit with me, you're gonna fail. I mean, you know, if you think this is something to play with, then, you know, you're gonna fuck up. Like, I've always had men around me. Like, as Dora was saying, I come from investment banking. Do you think there was a woman in my team? They were the secretaries. Like, yeah, so I had tech startups. Do you think there were women? You know, there were guys. And I was pregnant and stuff like that. I went through hell and back, but I was taking serious because what I had to offer was of great value for them. And I cried, and I didn't mind that I cried, and the guys had to go through it, and we went to mediation, and I cried some more, and I don't care, right? I mean, they did not want to let go of me because of what I was bringing to the table. And I think this is the male energy. Look, I know what I can do. I know that I'm good at something, and I'm not negotiating this. This is my male energy. But the question is how we do it. And this is the female energy. Like, I'm not waking up at 4 in the morning just to do 2 more calls, just because male energy is telling me if you do 2 more calls. No, I'm focusing on relationship building. You know, for me, it's a different type of focus. So yeah, I love this. That's why I have the energy. If you love what you do, that's what Alexandra was saying. If you love what you do, you make the best cheesecake that you can make. Let's not forget that.
So amazing. I must admit I cried a couple of times while you were talking, and it just, I don't know, every time I hear you talk, it's so liberating, you know. I feel like
no, but Dora, I thought that I saw you earlier, and I was wondering whether I should just jump in when sorry, I forgot the name. When she was talking about that she was crying in front of a bus, I'm like, Dora, let's cry, because I saw you wanted to cry. I'm like, Dora, cry, we're all here for you.
Yeah.
It's fine. You're doing really great, Dora. Really, honestly, you are a perfect example of good male and female energy. You're so focused, That's male energy, super focused. It's super important to appreciate that energy in you. But you have a love and a passion for women, and you know that it's relevant. You know that what you do is important, and that's all that matters. You need to know that it's important, and then we all believe you. That's all that matters. We believe you.
Yeah, another thing I realized is maybe I had my midlife crisis at 29, because this was when I asked myself these questions. Is this what I'm going to do my whole life? Like, yeah. This cannot be true. Like, I cannot dedicate all my life and my potential and my energy to something that is not contributing to a change in society that I really want to see. That is super important to me.
But there was something that was satisfied. That's what I'm trying to say. There was some male energy that was satisfied that you could break out of this? For some reason you felt like, okay, now I don't need to worry about certain things anymore, that I can break free from this now.